Yellowstone Season 4 was a hit, and now Taylor Sheridan's show is all set to return with another season. The important thing is that we already have the trailer for this new installment, and it seems the series has no intentions of slowing down yet. In this video, let's have a look at what the trailer tells us. Apparently, it consists of some significant hints. So, without any further ado, let's get right into it. First, it's confirmed that John Dutton is now Montana's governor. If we recall the last season we watched, the last few episodes didn't have much about the hopes of the Dutton patriarch taking over the governor's seat. However, in one shot, we saw John break his adopted son Jamie's heart again. And then the future of his political career was left there. We didn't get an answer. But now, with Season 5's trailer, we can confirm that John will win the election and become Montana's governor. In the first few seconds of the trailer, we see Dutton being sworn in for the position, while his daughter Beth and Jamie stand by his side. From what we think, the series won't be wasting any more time showing the whole campaign, and we'll see a time jump where the Dutton patriarch wins the election. The trailer does have a short clip of Jamie in some campaign office, while you can see his father's election signs and banners behind him, while the TV is showing the Victory congregation in the background. We believe these scenes are from the opening episode of the 5th season, meaning we'll see John as governor from the very beginning. Not just that, one of the shots was quite powerful, where we see John walk down a hallway while Beth and Linnell Perry are on his sides. Genuinely speaking, anyone can become governor with those two strong women around. Not just that, but it seems like Jamie and Beth are on the same page. Another thing we noted was the chemistry between Beth and Jamie. For some reason, it now seems like the two are now on the same page. After all, you don't see Jamie give advice on dirty politics to his adopted father and sister every day. It's not normal. Something's up between them, and that's why we believe Beth and Jamie aren't enemies for the time being. This is probably an uneasy piece because that keeps happening between him and the Duttons, but it means that Jamie has accepted his fate and has once again fallen into John's pockets. Up next, we see how John is all set to manipulate his position. "I love Montana, but I'm doing this for my family." That's what he said right after becoming the governor. Later, we see Perry tell him that no one is afraid to him there, and he'll always have to bring his own. Well, we think that advice helped, and we saw him slamming a table and firing all the present staff. Immediately after this, we see him appoint his daughter as his chief of staff. Here, we must remember that Beth is literally the pit bull of the Dutton family. She's the one who does all the ruthless business, and being the chief of staff is scary. This also means that Beth, who's in fact a part of the power behind John's throne herself, has become more powerful. Apart from that, his words were metaphorical when he was sworn in. Costner did a great job with these lines. John speaks when he's being sworn in. The now governor threatens both foreign and domestic enemies while also promising to protect Montana. By Montana, he means his family, while from the enemies, he means the antagonist forces that could harm his family. This also reminds us of his motive behind getting this position. He wanted to protect his and his family's way of life on their Yellowstone ranch. Imagine threatening your enemies while you're swearing in for a position like that. Only John could do that. Next, we got to know that we now have another antagonist. Dawn Olivieri will join the cast as Sarah Atwood this coming season. As per the information, she's a corporate shark that Caroline has hired. To be specific, Caroline is set to target Beth this season. We couldn't get much information about her, but from what we saw in the trailer, this woman enjoys sabotaging the corporate world as much as Beth Dutton does. So yeah, it looks like an exciting matchup. Warner, on the other hand, has her own pit bull, and as they call her, the tiny bastion of profanity and ire. She seems to be even angrier at the Duttons. Not to mention, the Duttons might face permanent losses this time around. The trailer ends with the words, "Power has a price." If we look into it, the phrase is quite important here, as it hints at the consequences the Duttons may face because of John's actions. This indicates that this time, the residents of the Yellowstone Ranch won't be able to get away with their deeds. Instead, there will be permanent damage. In fact, we've started thinking of the fan theories that state John Dutton's death this season, as we hear Casey's wife, Monica, say some words that translate into sacrificing someone very close. She says, "When I say we give everything to this land, I do mean everything." We wonder if John Dutton is going to the land or someone else, but something's definitely going to harm this ruthless family. Also, we assume that this season will also have an interesting story on Casey's part. There's already enough drama between him and Monica. We even saw her breaking down in the closing montage. Later, we see her with a short hairstyle which embodies her confidence. We think that fans might see these two split up for good this season. But then, we have this eerie question about Monica. Will she die in this installment? Perhaps. but we can't be sure. At the same time, Casey is convinced that he'd done this for his father. While Monica is okay with giving everything to the land, we see an adamant Casey who believes that he's doing this for his father. From this, we don't know what he meant, but the phrase was followed by a heck of a shot decking right into someone's jaw. This coming season, we'll get to know the act Casey's done for John. The trailer also hints the Dutton patriarch will continue using his children and the power they get from their respective positions as much as he can. Show's fans know that Casey's punch wasn't even 1% of the violence we'll see in this upcoming season. Also, the person that Casey punched had some resemblance to Colby, but the problem is he hasn't had anything big going on in his storyline for a while. So why'd Casey smack him like that? But as a matter of fact, we're sure that Yellowstone Ranch is being used as a headquarters for a large-scale plan. Following, we should also look into Rainwater's role in this season. Chief Thomas Rainwater has been an uneasy ally to the Dutton family, and we guess that he might have some business with them again from the trailer. After all, John is now the governor, and there's definitely a lot Rainwater wants to talk about now. We also see the two talking to each other in a fairly private place, indicating that what they're discussing isn't above board. Another thing to note here is that these two have a mutual enemy, and they're facing it. So it's clear that Thomas wants to negotiate things, and the choice Dutton makes in this matter will conclude whether he's a true villain or not. Now that the Yellowstone residents hold the preeminent political dynasty of the state, they have the power to execute and pass laws that could change the future of Montana for good or bad. The alliance was teased back in Season 3, and now we'll finally get to see these two parties join hands in Season 5. Because honestly, we believe there's no better time than this to pull the trigger on these subplots finally. Finally, John is someone's nightmare as well. He might be Rainwater's ally, but for market equities, he's the worst nightmare ever. As Montana's governor, John will now be able to convene the state's legislature, grant pardons, and even approve or veto bills that the body passes. Not just that, he's being guided by Jamie, who's a great attorney and knows the law very well. Apart from him, he's got Beth as his sign piece. So obviously, with the two by his side, Governor Dutton can change laws that'd favor private ranchers, like himself. Not just that, there's also a possibility that he might pass measures in order to stop billionaire-backed private companies like market equities. This suggests that John will now come face-to-face with some big powers, and we'll see him involved in actions that might be legally questionable but would save his ranch and family. But then again, there'll be consequences, and we feel that one of the Duttons might die this season. And lastly, this also suggests that Caroline Warner has to be fully prepared before she enters this war. And with this, it's time for us to wrap this up, fam. What do you think about this video? Do let us know in the comments below. Also, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel. We'll soon be back with more amazing videos. See you in the next one.